Dear viewers, welcome to the weekly gaming update. I changed the title around a bit as well as a new thumbnail style, but otherwise it's the exact same. Cool indie game, titles you've never even heard of, patch news and releases. It's Christmas, so Merry Christmas. Thanks for joining. Let's dive in. We're kicking off with the headline. It's not good news, ladies and gentlemen. I've been reporting on Book of Travels for a while now and been playing the game too, but this week there was dire news. The project was kickstarted for around €300,000 on November 2019 and was released in early access 2 years later in October of this year. Unfortunately, it just didn't sell all that well. It is a unique game, a so-called tiny multiplayer online RPG, and the reviews on Steam are good too, at around 80%. However, it is an incredibly niche game and apparently it doesn't appeal to that many people. In order to make ends meet, the studio had to make the difficult decision to cut down the dev team from 35 to 10 people. Ay. This, first of all, sucks for those 25 people losing their job just before the holidays. It also sucks for the game, which will now realistically take 3 times as long to complete. And it sucks for all the backers and other people buying this game in early access, because while the game is interesting on paper and kinda plays fine in my opinion, there is still a lot of work remaining. This is not good at all, and I hope they manage to somehow survive this setback. News like this doesn't inspire new people to buy the game, of course, so yeah, this might be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but then a wrong one. Wolcen is still alive, talking about being alive, at least the devs are, and they unfortunately had to postpone the promised patch, which was planned for last week. They announced this in Wolcen style a week after the patch was supposed to launch, so that hasn't changed yet at least. The top-notch communication straight out of France. But okay, let's look at the new patch then. What are we getting? Well, there's honestly very little information in this post. It's more like a teaser. There will be a war table added in which you can complete 4 endgame activities. When using the war table, players will have a choice between several mission types at multiple difficulty levels, with a specific reward that can be seen before launching the mission. That is all we know. And we get more monsters. Not a word on controller support, which was supposed to be there last month. I'm very apathetic about this game currently. I will check it out, as I always do, and then probably drop it as soon as I find more game-breaking bugs, as I always have done up to this point. Sea of Stars dropped a new trailer, which you are watching right now. This is a turn-based RPG inspired by the classics. It tells the story of 2 children of the solstice who will combine the powers of the sun and the moon to perform eclipse magic, the only force capable of fending off the monstrous creations of the evil alchemist known as the Fleshmancer. This trailer reminds me of games like Secret of Mana, including the sound and pixel art. There's just something about these games that I'm drawn to, and I can't wait to play this. Summer next year, it should release on Steam. Weird West, a dark fantasy reimagining of the Wild West, where you are battling with gunslingers and fantastical creatures, is delayed to the 31st of March 2022. It was supposed to release in about 2.5 weeks, the 11th of January. This game, developed by Wolfeye and published by Devolver, features a deeply simulated sandbox world where your choices have far-reaching impact on current and future storylines. A very interesting concept, and apparently also one that can lead to a bunch of dead ends in the storylines and other unintended consequences. The game is undergoing beta tests right now, and they pretty much discovered their system sometimes goes rogue and shuts down stories altogether, so they need to fix that. Good excuse for a delay, I would say. The Wandering Village, a symbiotic city builder between a small community of humans and a massive beast that is running away from poisonous spores, has started beta testing for backers. That means we're not too far off to an early access release unless they find some really nasty bugs. This is one of those indie games that deserves your attention, I feel, and if you want to have more details, I recently made an entire preview about this title, link in the card. The developers from Lava Boots Studios, creators of Wild West and Wizards and creators of the pirate game Salt, shared an update for their upcoming sequel to Salt, Salt 2 Shores of Gold. This is an exciting title to look forward to because it's super indie, and from what we've seen so far it looks very solid. Up first, a new enemy type, skeletons. Not surprising in a pirate game. A big part of Salt 2 will be crafting, and recently a lot of work has been put into the crafting system, adding new components, new recipes and integrating all of this into the world. Next to random drops of weapons and armor, you will occasionally find recipes too. NPCs can also point you in the direction of new ingredients or recipes, making this a very dynamic system where exploration is rewarded. More work has been done on the skills and talent trees. What I like about the progression of skills in Salt 2 is that it is like Skyrim. You gain points by performing the activity. If you fish, you get better at fishing, which makes a lot of sense to me. The plan is to have 13 skill trees in total. Finally, the devs shared some roadmap update. Alpha and beta testing should commence in March or April, with the early access launch being in May. I came across a new game. Project Haven is the name. It is a squad tactics game set on the mean streets of Earth's last city. Lead the Steel Dragons, a mismatched mercenary crew, on high-risk missions. Invest in equipment and stay ahead of the game one bullet at a time. Play the story solo or co-op, plus procedural skirmishes for 1 to 4 players. You're watching right now a developer gameplay walkthrough video showing a good deal of what this game is about. What is interesting about this is that you have to aim the guns of your squad yourself, though even if you aim well, they can apparently still miss. The setting looks interesting though, and if you're a fan of the genre, you should keep an eye out for this one. Oaken, a tactical turn-based roguelike set in a mythical place, started their first public playtest, for which you can sign up using Steam. It's developed by Laki Studios and published by Goblins Studios. Goblins is a publisher that mainly focuses on games like this, the tactical games kind of thing, and they published, for example, Legend of Keepers, Banners of Ruin, and Iris and the Giant, to name a few. These are all very solid games, and Oaken is probably no exception. Check it out for yourself if you're interested and be one of the first people playing this title. This year, Tainted Grail Conquest released, an amazing collectible card game with a rich fantasy world based on a tabletop game. I put it in my Game of the Year list, that's how impressive I thought it was. There is another Tainted Grail game by the same developers called Tainted Grail The Fall of Avalon, and this game is still in very early stages of development. It was already known this game was a thing because there was a deal that you would get this game for free if you bought the Tainted Grail card game. The deal still stands, even though that the scope of the new game has blown up significantly following this announcement, because after a long period of silence, the devs have shown the first footage from the new Tainted Grail, which you see right here. It's only a 30-second clip, and even the devs themselves tell us it is like 6 months too early or something to show anything, but because everyone is so eager for the next title, they did it anyway. They share some information about what this game is as well. Tainted Grail will be a dark fantasy epic full of meaningful choices, which honors the choices of the player and gives them as much freedom as possible. I really love it when devs do this. They just put everything they have on the table. Screw marketing, screw polished pictures. You literally see like 35 enemies bugging out over here, but it doesn't matter. We get the message. This stuff looks great, and the world this is based on is amazing as well, and their previous game is awesome, so I have a lot of faith. There's so far nothing to worry about, I would say. Put it on your wish lists and subscribe to this channel because we will be closely following this. The devs expect early access hits in 1 year from now in Q4 2022. Then the Patch Plaza with an overview of patch news. ANVIL, the top-down action shooter where you take on the role of a vault breaker searching for ancient relics, has released yet another balancing patch. The Jungler and Sandman Breaker are stronger, which is nice as these are your starting classes. A new relic got added, and relics are the upgrades you find along the way, making you a lot stronger. This particular one, the Lightweight Magazine, increases attack speed and it should scale well with hit-based weapons. In single player, all enemy hit points have been decreased by 20%, and in multiplayer enemy attack power has been decreased, meeting the community complaints about the game being way too difficult. On top of this, automatic resurrection for teammates after clearing a zone was added. The game is definitely heading in the right direction, and the Korean devs seem to take the community feedback into account, which is great to see. Rise of Humanity, the tactical turn-based game using cards in combat, dropped their first content patch since the game launched in early access. This update focuses on the replayable content, the daily challenges. 2 new modes got added, Destroy and Survive. I'll let you guess what those are about. 4 new battle conditions make their appearance, which are various factors that make the daily challenges harder or easier. And 5 battle goals make their way into the game, which are objectives that reward you with skill points. On top of this, there are gold card skins as rewards for completing daily challenges. There's a limited edition card if you own the game or buy it during Steam Winter Sale, and there is a Twitch integration so you can play with your viewers and they can pick your cards. That's pretty cool. Killsquad dropped a huge patch containing many new endgame systems. It's really exciting. There are 3 new Colosseums, all based on an elemental type. The enemies in each of them are weak to one specific element and resistant to others. Should you manage to defeat the Colosseums, you are eligible to legendary loot, the new loot type in Killsquad. Legendary loot comes in weapons, gear and prototypes, the 3 item slots available, and the main feature of legendary gear is that it can be upgraded with a special customization menu with perks. This should give you something to grind for. The devs implemented an infinite Colosseum as well, and it seems they changed their minds yet again because now it is apparently infinite, while last week it wasn't, despite the name. Not at all confusing, this game mode. Whatever it may be, it is bound to be the most challenging content out there, including a ladder to climb the leaderboards with, and should you end up in the top, shiny badges await you. There is a competitive mode too, separate from the ladder, in which you need to complete certain challenges to earn even more loot. This patch brings a ton of new content, making this a great time to check out Killsquad. I definitely recommend it, and it is on sale of course as well. Black Skylands dropped the Ice Kraken patch, featuring random aerial events when you're flying around in your spaceship, which is pretty much all the time. Active abilities for Eva, the protagonist, active abilities for your ship, 2 new main quests and new puzzles. You're watching some footage about what to expect and it looks great, gotta say. This is a really fun game as well, by the way. Then releases. Normally there is at least something that is going to be released, but it is Christmas, guys. Nothing is getting released apart from the patches that I already covered. Time for some personal updates. What have I been up to? Well, I've been playing some Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, but I'm also taking my time with that one. I mean, there's no rush after all. I created multiple characters in the Path of Exile Endless Heist and tested out some few builds in the SSF part of town. No great successes there, but they didn't completely suck either, so that's a win in my book. I will also be playing the Invasion mode, probably with a build that is good at bossing, because that now actually makes sense. I played some more Last Epoch while I'm working on the review for patch 0.8.4. You can expect that one pretty soon, it should be at least this year. And finally, I played a lot of Lands Island, an Australian indie game. This sim survival crafting game stole my heart. It is just in early access, but already very polished and addictive. This one will appear in a video as well. And that's it. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.